if anything happens, don't spoil anything.
Yeah, I'm
But
not gonna
like
say.
in this movie, like I was like, I hope Neville has like an awesome moment in one of these
Mm,
movies. Like he does something big, and it's like cool, and it's like, yeah, Neville did something because like Neville, they kind of like
Anyway,
drag on
we're gonna
him
just
in these
move
movies.
on real
Where
quick.
what?
We're gonna move on real quick.
Oh my god! Okay, it's happening! Everybody stay calm! Everybody stay calm!
What's the procedure?
Stay calm!
Harry Potter. The boy who lived. Come to die.
Do 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 do. Hello, everybody. Welcome to
The
the final
finale.
video, the
The finale.
finale of the Harry Potter series, of our Harry Potter series.
I'm gonna cry.
I'm gonna cry.
Come a long way.
We've come a long way from Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, and now we are on Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1. I messed that up. Deathly Hallows Part 2,
Part 3.
Part 3,
Cursed
and
Child Part
the
7.
Cursed Child Part 7. Before we get into the plot, I guess we should talk about like how we overall felt about this movie. I'm just gonna say it. I loved this movie.
This is the best movie ever made.
I guess we should get into this plot now. Okay, so right off the bat, this movie starts off with flashbacks from the scene that made me throw my phone, Voldemort getting the Elder
Oh
Wand,
yeah.
and then it wastes no time
Previously on Harry Potter.
on Harry Potter. This is the shortest Harry Potter movie, so like they really. I love that
Yeah. It's
they
crazy.
included as much as they did. Like it was the shortest one, but they didn't waste time. They didn't like
They didn't draw stuff out
they didn't draw stuff
unnecessarily.
out. Yeah. Right after that quick like flashback shot, we were shown Snape standing at the top of like a tower in Hogwarts, and it's him. He's now the headmaster of Hogwarts. And again, at this point, I was like, man, frick Snape, because I was like, he killed Dumbledore.
Yeah.
And
You really, oh my gosh. The
mm,
Snape story
the Snape,
is
yeah,
probably one of the most insane stories in cinema history.
because I
We
was
don't,
not expecting it to say the least. And
yeah,
just the twist, the back and forth, to to not give away too much. So
yeah.
right
You probably know
after,
what we're talking about already.
yeah, everybody, yeah, you know what we're talking about. To basically sum up what's happening, Harry, Ron, and Hermione, and like Luna, who is she's with them after the events of the last movie, being saved from being captured.
Yeah.
They're all basically at this house, like this beach house, basically. Basically, the whole point of that scene is Harry talks to Griphook. They need to get into Gringotts because Harry has a reason to believe that
They found out
there's
the
a
sort of
Horcrux.
Gryffindor. Oh, yeah.
Harry needs Griphook to get into Gringotts, and before they go to Gringotts, it's shown that Hermione and I guess Hermione made a polyjuice potion for her and Ron. So
No,
they're
wasn't Ron invisible? Or no, Harry was invisible.
Harry was invisible with the grip hook on his back like Yoda.
Ron just had a mustache. Oh yeah.
So they all
Jesus.
apparate to Diagon Alley and like this alley, and I thought diagonally.
Diagonally.
Is it Bellatrix or Bellatrix?
I don't know.
Because I'm looking at the spelling and it says Bellatrix. Have we
Wait.
been saying this wrong?
Bellatrix. Let me look it up. Bellatrix. It's Bellatrix.
Bellatrix. Okay, guys.
Bellatrix.
Sorry, we've been saying it.
Hermione.
Let's just
The common
redo-
caterpillar.
my
Edit.
gosh.
The cover for that movie, but with Hermione's face on the caterpillar.
Sorry, we've been mispronouncing her name.
Hermione, a common mudblood.
We should.
Anyway.
Okay. Anyway, sorry, we've mispronounced the name. So they take a polyjuice potion to become
Wait,
Bellatrix.
And I'm gonna stop.
And Hermione as Bellatrix needs to get into her vault. So I think one of the goblin people, I forget his name, but he's like,
It's like I need your wand.
I need
right?
your wand or something like that.
Social
And so
security.
she's like, I don't need that. And then they're about to send like security on them. And then I can't remember if it's Harry or Griphook,
Harry, I think, or Ron? No, Harry uses Imperia.
which makes them basically just
Do what
they want. So like Imperio, and then it's like, oh yeah, right this way. So then they go on the Gringotts thing, which is
It's a roller coaster.
which was destined to be a roller coaster at Universal Orlando Studios. They go on the little Gringotts roller coaster thing to the vault. The thing stops midway and drops them. They basically at that point can walk to the vault. So they have to like go past this dragon, and they have these things that they're shaking to like create noise.
Oh yeah, the goblin, the Imperio wore off, so he's just like, "What are you
Oh
doing?"
yeah, and then they keep on redoing it. He's like, "What are you doing, like Imperio?"
Imperio, and it's like yellow dust.
The noise that they use to distract the dragon, not even distract, like they're making noise, and the dragon kind of backs into a corner because I guess it just doesn't like it. And
Yeah, it's
so
like a rattler thing. It's
yeah.
been trained to expect pain.
So they're in Bellatrix's vault, and Harry sees the Horcrux. He touches something, and then everything in the room, which is like gold stuff, starts multiplying, and it's like a spell that every time you touch whatever, it multiplies. So the room starts filling up.
It starts overflowing, and it
starts
closes
overflowing
off.
the room. Yeah.
Oh
and
yeah,
then,
the little goblin. What was his name? Griphook turns his back. He like betrays them.
Yeah. After he gets the Horcrux, doesn't he hand it to him or something? He hands something to
Oh,
him.
he needs to give him he was like, for payment for like helping y'all get in here, I want the sword of Godric Gryffindor.
Oh yeah.
And they
then
can't destroy it because
without it. So they have the Horcrux in the vault. Everything's overflowing. Griphook's like, I said I'd get you in. I didn't say anything about getting you out. And they're just like, ah. So basically, I think like security comes and they start like firing magic at them, and Hermione frees the dragon. It's a really awesome sequence where like they break out of Gringotts and like it comes out of like
Hermione's
the main
a rebel. The dragon burrows through like the ground.
And I guess it's not harmed at all. It's just like
it's got thick skin.
It's got thick skin. It escapes from Gringotts, hence the Escape from Gringotts roller coaster at Universal Orlando Studios. Buy tickets.
With the dragon on top of it.
With the dragon on top.
Yeah. Such a dope scene. I thought this was in part 1 for some reason, and I keep forgetting it's in part 2.
So they're riding the dragon, and then they decide to jump off. I forget. I think they're like going down or something. So they jump off into the water, and they're all like getting into, I guess, dry clothes. Oh, by the way, Harry has like a quick little vision of Voldemort, and like he can tell that like Voldemort's in pain whenever like the Horcruxes are being destroyed. So he's like, he can tell that it's affecting him. Then they get on land. They start switching into dry clothes, and I have a line. I keep on saying Daniel Radcliffe. Harry has a line that he's like,
we have to go there now.
What? We can't do that. We've got to plan. We've got to figure it out.
Hermione, when have any of our plans ever actually worked? We plan, we get there, all hell breaks loose.
Then I think he cuts to Voldemort. And is he at Hogwarts at that point? No, he's not at Hogwarts.
No, he's at Gringotts, and he's freaking killing everybody.
Oh, okay, yeah, I got confused. You see Griphook, and he's dead, and it's like
blood everywhere.
It's sort of just like
all over.
it's sort of like I didn't know how to feel because I was like, oh, he's dead, but I was like, he just betrayed them. So like,
He's from the first movie. Oh,
yeah,
wait,
he's from the first movie. Oh no, he's betrayed them. Frick him. So then the sword disappears. By the way, in like that shot of Grip Hook, it disappears from his hand. I think at that point he realizes that the next Horcrux is in Hogwarts. That sets up a new thing because I forgot how, but he realizes that he somehow finds out that the next Horcrux isn't Hogwarts. So they apparate to Hogsmeade. Like immediately when they do, I think there's like an alarm set off and they're like, being hunted, obviously. Eventually they're kind of like evading different guards and they are taken or saved by Aberforth.
Dumbledore's brother, Aberforth Dumbledore.
Aberforth, okay, yeah.
Who, to be quite frank, is kind of down in the dumps.
There's a lot of different things that are revealed in that scene. One, that it's freaking Dumbledore's brother, which we just explained, but I think they don't know that at that point immediately.
Yeah, they do reveal that the little mirror shard that Harry's been looking through. He's been
for the past like movie
brother.
or so. They say something about the paintings, and then there's like a lady in a painting. She walks away, and then she comes back, and then the painting opens like and reveals a passage. And freaking Neville, he walks out.
Yes, Neville.
And it's like Neville. It's like whenever
he did something cool already.
I think literally whenever he showed up, my exact reaction was like,
it's Neville. Surely he's gonna do something cool.
Surely he'll do something of value. Probably not, but maybe he will. So yeah, they go through a passage. Harry was like, I haven't seen this on the Marauders map, and he was like, oh, that's because it hasn't existed until now.
It's from the Room of Requirements because
it can just make whatever. Yeah, it can do whatever you need. They bring Harry to the Room of Requirement, and I love it because whenever they reveal Harry, everybody starts clapping. Well, everyone's there, and everybody starts clapping, and the music it plays Hedwig's theme, and it's like, and it's like, oh my god,
dude! And it's so cool because just think about it. They haven't seen him all year. They don't know what's happening. They don't know about the Horcruxes. They just know that Harry's doing something cool, like Harry's dropped out of school. What an edgelord!
What an edgelord! Harry, Ron, and Hermione have dropped out.
Like they're like, he's surely like gonna kill Voldemort. Like just think about what their
perspective. Yeah, they're just sort of
they don't know what's
going on.
All in this giant Room of Requirements, being tortured by Death Eaters at their own school. So basically, they're like, "What do you need us to do, Harry?" And he's like, "So we need to." It's funny because it's like, "We'll do anything. We'll help you," basically. And he's like, "So we need to find something in the castle that has to do with Ravenclaw."
Find something in the castle.
Not much to go on. And
they're
then
like,
Seamus is like, "That's nothing to go
on."
There's something we need to find. Something hidden here in the castle. And it may help us defeat you-know-who. Right. What is it? We don't know.
Where is it?
We don't know that either. I realise it's not much to go on.
That's nothing to go on.
Ginny comes in and she's like, and she's Harry, and then like you can see Ron like awkwardly waving behind Harry, and then he's like,
6 months she hasn't seen me, and it's like I'm Frankie first year. Only a brother.
She got lots of those though. She's only one, Harry.
Shut up, Seamus.
I think Luna is like, what about this thing?
Tiara,
it's like a tiara, but it has a specific name. It's like
diadem.
Well, there's Rowena Ravenclaw's last diadem.
Oh bloody hell! Here we go.
Dumbledore's army reunite, by the way.
Yes.
Dumbledore's army is back. There's a lot that happens in between, but Snape knows that Harry is on school grounds, essentially. And he's like, he's basically like saying people who have helped Harry know that he's there.
Oh yeah, he has a whole gathering with everybody.
Or anybody who's involved with Harry and they are lying about it, whatever, they will be punished. And
like
so he's like, please come forward. And then Harry's just like, screw it. He's like,
oh, this is so good.
This is so good.
I remember because I hadn't seen this in several years when I rewatched it for some reason. I don't know why I hadn't seen it, but I forgot a lot that happened because there's so much cool stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot that happened.
I forgot that this happened. And so whenever he said come forward, I was like, I remembered like in an instant before it happened. And I was like,
it happened.
I started cheering and
I was like,
what's wrong with you? I'm like, shut up.
Whenever I saw that, I was like,
Oh, it's so cool because he just comes forward.
Harry's
Because
just
he's
like,
like
screw it,
anyone who
I'm
knows
here.
about it, he's like, I know about it.
And he's like, I know about it, and he's right
And
there.
then
And
he
I was
starts
like,
he starts like yelling at Snape, and it's so cool.
he was like, tell them how you killed Dumbledore and everything. And Snape's not saying anything. And then McGonagall, she starts like fight. Like Snape pulls his wand on Harry, and then McGonagall steps
in
up
front, and
and
he's like,
starts steps in
yes!
front. And it's like, oh my gosh! And
McGonagall
then
is
she
so
like,
good. I
yeah,
don't think
she
she's
starts
ever fought in
I
any
don't
of
think
the
so
other ones.
either. From what I'm remembering, she hasn't. So it was really like sad. This whole movie is just
It's
satisfying.
filled. If there's so many things where like I wish this character would get better redeeming things or would do something cool, and it's like just wait
Here
for
it
this
is.
one.
Just wait for this scene.
This
So yeah,
isn't the only time where a character gets.
oh yeah, this
that
isn't
good.
the only time, especially
Oh my
for me.
There's also
So
a certain mother. That
so
scene is
anyway,
so
so
good.
Harry before McGonagall steps up, one thing I thought was really cool. Whenever Harry steps up, I'm just going back a little bit before the McGonagall thing. Harry's like, I'm here, and then like all of like Dumbledore's army, like the doors open, and they're just like they just walk in and everything.
Yes, it's
And it's
like
just such
we're
a
here,
cool
mother
thing.
frickers.
So then then McGonagall like fights off against Snape, and then Snape leaves, and then McGonagall banishes Slytherin to the dungeons, and it's
Yeah,
just
it's so
like,
cool because it's like, yes,
yes!
screw Slytherin.
In that same scene, Voldemort speaks to the students, and he's like, "Bring me Harry Potter. None of you will be harmed." And then all the students start like that aren't in Dumbledore's army start like approaching Harry. Then McGonagall banishes them to the
Yeah, because
to the
they're
dungeons. Then I
Oh,
love this
man.
scene because everybody's basically gearing up for this big like battle.
Oh,
It's just so it's
dude.
so awesome because like there's so much happening. Like you see so many people walking up and down the stairs and through the hallways while like Harry and Ron and Hermione are talking, and it's just like such a cool setup for all these scenes.
It's
So
building the hype.
yeah, it's
And then
building up,
McGonagall like does the spell that like
makes the statues come
yeah, the
alive,
statue. She's like, I
and she's like, I
to
always
use
wanted to do
spell.
that, and it's just
It's
so
like we
like
did too, but we just
we
didn't know it.
wanted to see it.
The whole
Everything.
Order of the Phoenix is back.
And they start doing these spells that put out this huge shield over Hogwarts,
Oh
and
yeah.
the music and everything, and it just the scenery. It was so
Oh
awesome
my
to see.
gosh.
It's so awesome.
And then the Death Eaters are all like on the hill watching
Are on
it
the hill just
happen.
watching this happen. They're just like,
Like,
oh, there has to be one of them that's
dude,
just
leave
like,
me
oh
alone.
crap, just like,
Oh crap! I thought it
imagine
was.
just a one Death Eater that
When you
is
told me
totally.
we were raiding a school, I thought it was gonna be easy.
I thought it'd be easy. There wouldn't be a force field over it. Harry's going up some stairs, and Luna's following him. She's like, "No, I know what you need the diadem." And she's like,
And
"Harry
he's
Potter,
like,
you listen to me right now."
he's like, I
He's
need
like-
to do this, blah blah blah. And she's like,
But
Harry Potter,
alone.
you listen to me. Yes, Luna,
Uh,
Queen.
yes.
Quirky Queen.
Luna is basically leading Harry to meet the ghost of Rowena Gryffindor. What am I saying?
Whatever,
The ghost of Rowena Ravenclaw. The ghost of Ravenclaw lady. Does he need to get the diadem from her, or does he need to know where it is or something?
She can tell him.
Tell
I
him
think.
where it is or something.
And she does not want to.
Harry has this whole like conversation with her where
It's
he
like
basically
corrupting people.
yeah.
Tom Riddle used it, and she's like, I don't want that to happen.
I don't want that to happen again. Harry's like
I can kill Tom Riddle.
So he explains to her. He gets her on his side. He basically gains access to the diadem, or at least knows where it is. I love this because while all this is happening, we're seeing like all of these people, like the Order of the Phoenix, prepare for this huge battle, and it's just so
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, Voldemort's army has surrounded the shield around Hogwarts. So Neville, beforehand, he sees the Voldemort's army, and he's like, "Oh,
He's
you!"
on the
They try to
bridge
get
thing.
yeah. He's on the bridge, and one guy starts running towards him, and then he gets flown back from the shield. He's like, "Oh, you in one army," and then like the shield gets taken down, and then they start running towards him. And I was
They
like,
slowly step through and they don't
He's-
die, and so they start running towards it.
yeah, and
He's
then they
like-
all start running towards him. He's like, "Oh crap!" And so he starts running and running and running.
This is a
And then this is an intense scene.
sicko mode.
A sicko mode scene.
Neville Longbottom scene.
Okay, at this point in the movie, in the series, more like it, I was hyping up so much. Like, I hope Neville does something cool. He needs to do something cool. And I was like, the whole time, I was like, no, don't
Oh my
kill him, don't kill him,
gosh.
because he fell off the bridge. And I was like, no!
He
And then,
blew up
like,
the
he killed so many people.
he blows up the bridge and destroys so many. He kills so many snatchers. It's
and
like
survived it. Hermione and Ron go into the Chamber of Secrets to get a basilisk vein, because the basilisk vein with its
yeah.
venom can destroy the Horcrux, which is the Hufflepuff cup.
Hufflepuff Puff.
Hufflepuff Puff, and it destroys it. And then in this scene, Ron and Hermione kiss for the first time. So much happens in between,
And they get
it's all
inside.
yeah, they're all inside.
Castle, and there's so many. There's so many.
So many cool like in between things, like little highlights here and there. And Harry and Ginny
covered
sort
in
of reunite.
And he's
He basically runs by Harry and Ginny, and he's like he says something to them, but then he's like, oh, like I'm mad for Luna, like I figured it, like I might as well like tell her now since we're all like we won't live to the morning or something like that. and then Harry and Ginny kiss, and again it's like
oh, it's not long enough. They just sort of oh yeah, they have stuff to do. They can't just
they have stuff to do, but still satisfying moment. Then freaking Draco appears, and I was caught off guard by that. I was like, what is he doing?
Draco, we thought you were redeeming yourself, but no.
But no, until
with Harry Potter pause.
We thought you were here, but no. So he grabs Goyle and some other guy.
The other actor.
The reason why the reason why the actor for Crabbe isn't in this movie or in the last. Well, Goyle wasn't in the last one either. The reason why he isn't in this movie is because he had like a homemade bomb intended for use at the London riots in like 2000 something. Yeah. Also drug charges. So yeah, Draco appears, freaking Draco, and he if we ever get around to, I say that so much in my reaction anytime anything happens. I'm like, freaking Draco. That's gotta be, if we ever make merch for whatever reason, we gotta just sell a shirt that says freaking Draco.
Freaking nothing else. It's just a fragment.
Freaking Draco. If we ever get big on YouTube,
share us if you want merch.
Yeah, okay. If we get 1,000 subscribers, not even within some time, if we get 1,000 subscribers, we will do a limited merch drop of freaking Draco shirts, and as well as little inside jokes from these reviews. If you want that, smash like. Draco appears. He grabs Goyle and some other kid, and he kind of runs off with them. Harry goes into the room of requirement to find the diadem. They're all pointing his wands at him. He's like, oh yeah, he's looking at the diadem, by the way. So he's like, what are you doing here? And then Hermione comes in at the last second. She's like, Expelliarmus and stupefying
Draco's
everything.
like, I want my wand back. And
oh my gosh. Like, and then they run off. I think Draco tries to... Draco says that to Harry about his wand. And then Ron starts chasing after them. He's like, that's my girlfriend.
That's my girlfriend, you numpty!
12 seconds later.
I'll set the bloody place on fire!
They're all running around in the room of requirement from the fire. They use brooms. They're flying away. And then Harry sees Draco, and by the way, Goyle just falls into the fire.
Oh yeah, Goyle's dead.
If this was a Disney movie, he would have lived. And
even if this was freaking Quirrell would have come back as a clone.
Voldemort would have
strike me down.
Strike me down, Harry. Oh my gosh!
If Ryan Johnson and J.J. Abrams had to
made Harry Potter,
we need to do a video like that.
He saves Draco. They're kind of Ron at least is hesitant, and he says something. He's probably like, "Oh no, you're mental, maybe." And then so they save Draco.
You're gonna risk your skins for them or something?
Something like that. And then he saves Draco and the other kid. And they escape the room of requirements sort of at like a last second moment.
Don't they stab it first and throw it in there?
They
stab it outside when the door's still open.
And then they throw it in.
Doing the thing that it did with Ron back in part 1, but then they just throw it in because they're like, screw this.
It's like, screw it, whatever.
Ron was like, I'm not watching Harry and Hermione.
We just kissed. Never again.
This is not happening.
Harry then has another vision of Voldemort, sort of that he's in pain and everything after, because they just destroyed a Horcrux, and so Voldemort's it's in this scene. I think in this scene, there's some important stuff that happens, but I don't remember the small details. But in this scene, the big takeaway is that Nagini is a Horcrux. Kind of funny thinking about this, the fact that Crabbe, because that obviously he wasn't in it because of the actor, but like the character, it's funny thinking that the character probably skipped out in this year of Hogwarts and just missed all this crazy stuff.
You had a falling out with Draco.
You had a falling out. You just missed all this. Crabbe's really the lucky one. He missed all of this.
Arguing over the sequel trilogy of Star Wars, and they were like, we can't be friends anymore.
I think it's good. No, it's not. So we get a really cool scene afterwards where Harry, Ron, and Hermione are running through like the courtyard. It's so crazy. Like trolls and all these different monsters are like attacking the students, and it's just so much is going on.
There's so many cool fight scenes.
There's so much going on that's like
there's a scene where remember the werewolf
oh yeah, isn't it like biting a student or something?
He's eating lavender. Ron's ex, I'm pretty sure.
Lavender?
I think it's lavender.
That was her. What?
It's got the curly hair, and you can see her face.
Gosh.
Lavender gets eaten. Ron's
I totally did not notice that.
I wonder how Ron feels.
It is what it is.
Yeah, they're in the boathouse, like that little area, and Voldemort is essentially talking to Snape about the Elder Wand and how it's cracking whenever he's using it. And so he's like, it's allegiance lies with someone else, and he's like, who? And he says that it's Snape's, and this is where I was like, oh shoot, a big like thing where I was like, yo, that totally makes sense. Like, even though people could probably point it out and be like, oh no, it doesn't really make sense. I bought it. I thought it made sense. So basically, the wand becomes someone else's master when it's disarmed by that person,
which makes sense.
So, if you remember in Half-Blood Prince, freaking underrated movie, didn't Draco
disarms Dumbledore, and so the wand belonged to Draco with its allegiance because Dumbledore never got it back.
Yeah.
So Dumbledore died right after that. Therefore, the wand is Draco's. Draco got disarmed by Harry.
Yeah.
So the wand's allegiance lies with Harry. Spoiler alert. I'll be right back. I gotta get my charger for my phone. Sorry.
Okay.
Beatbox.
One last time, guys, to end off the series.
Did you put your name in the Harry Potter wait, what?
Did you put your name in the Potter of Voldemort? He kills Snape, but Nagini
He's like, you've been a good and faithful servant, but he said basically if I kill you, then I get the wand's allegiance lies with me, and Snape's just like shocked.
And then Nagini starts like striking him. It's so sad. Like Harry goes over there after Voldemort leaves.
Snape's like
take them to referring to his tears, and so Hermione gives Harry like a little like flask thing. He takes one of his tears.
They're glowing, which means memories.
So he's like, he tells him to take it to the pensieve.
Oh, he says you have your mother's eyes.
Yeah. Voldemort starts talking in everyone's mind. He's like, you have fought valiantly, and he starts talking to them.
Harry, you've let your friends die for you, which is very dishonorable, basically.
At this point, like,
it shows people dying.
Yeah, like it shows people dying. Then like at Hogwarts, everybody's sort of like, the battle is sort of over at that point. Oh yeah, it's pretty much over at that point at Hogwarts. Like it's the aftermath of what we've been seeing so far. You see people dead.
Fred getting zapped.
Getting zapped by some magic, and then they're in the Great Hall. Harry walks into after that whole scene. Harry walks to the Great Hall. You see all these characters. You see a lot of people. You see Lupin and
Tonks.
And Tonks.
They're like holding hands.
And they're holding hands and they're both dead. Yeah, you see that Fred Weasley's dead. And it's so sad because I can't. It's just so sad. You predicted it. I predicted it. I said, okay, but I said it in a previous video, but in case if I I'll just recover it again. I went on the Goblet of Fire soundtrack before I had watched it like around a month ago. And one of them said one of the titles is called Frank Dies. And at first, and that's like the housekeeper that got killed in the beginning. And I was like,
Fred?
at first thought it said Fred dies. And I was like, and then I saw it, and I saw that it said Frank, and then I mentioned it to you. I was like, yeah, like Fred Weasley's gonna die or something like that. I was just
silent because I was like, and I looked it up because I couldn't remember which one of them died, and it was Fred.
And it was Fred. It could have totally been George.
George
Just the
lost
fact that
an
I was like,
ear.
so yeah, Fred Weasley's dead. It's a very sad moment. That whole thing is just so sad. Like Ron, the fact that Ron in part one was listening to the radio to make sure that like none of his family have died, and then it just comes back to be reunited only to find out that his brother died. It's just so sad. It's just
this movie. You care about characters.
Harry goes into, I guess,
Wait.
Dumbledore's office. Yeah.
Keep going. I thought you were gonna say the woods. I was like,
Oh no. Harry goes into
Don't
Dumbledore's
skip.
office. I guess I don't skip this.
oh, this is the most important.
This is very important, very emotional scene. He goes to the pensieve. He puts Snape's tear into the pensieve. Then
Forms a memory.
forms a memory. He looks in it, and we get probably, it is such an emotional scene that I was
The biggest
100
plot twist.
biggest plot twist. I was 1,000,000% not expecting this to happen at all. There's a lot of important plot things that are revealed in here, but the first thing is that Snape loved Lily Potter, or not Lily Potter, but Lily, I forget her actual last name.
Lily Potter, who she was then.
Who she was, Lily, Harry's mom. Snape loved Harry's mom, and he loved her almost his entire life.
It shows it shows the memories of Snape meeting Lily, and it shows Lily Potter
as
could do
kids and
magic
everything.
before she knew what magic was, basically like Harry could. But it
Yeah.
shows Aunt Petunia as her sister. It's weird to think
Yeah,
about, but she's like, "You're a freak. You're a weirdo."
And it kind of shows that, yeah. And so we have like scenes of them going into Hogwarts as kids, and I think like Snape gets put in Slytherin. I think she gets put in Gryffindor, and then like Lily meets James Potter, Harry's dad, and so then it shows like that sort of effect on Snape, how he loved Lily and everything. And then later on down in the flashback, it's revealed that
There's
like
cute little kids hanging out.
oh, by the way, we get that flashback of Trelawney in the third movie, like master and servant will be reunited once more and everything. Because you said in the Prisoner of Azkaban video that a review that that you thought it came into play in later movies.
Yes, it does.
And so when I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh. Then
he's talking to Dumbledore.
In a flashback, and he's like talking about
Snape's
the prophecy.
crying. Like it's her son.
He doesn't want anything to happen to Lily, and so he's talking about the prophecy, and he basically
Lily's
says
son.
that he'll do anything to like either fulfill the prophecy or anything for Dumbledore as long as he keeps Lily safe.
Oh yeah.
Then we cut to the scene where Harry's mom dies.
Snape walks into the wreckage of the Potter's house.
And yeah, we're getting flashes to like all this happening, and like in between we're getting shots of like him getting closer to the room and everything.
Lily's like, be safe.
Oh, by the way, it's revealed in the scene before the big moment, or big sad moment. It's revealed that, like all the whole thing, which baffled me, the whole thing about Snape killing Dumbledore was planned. Like it was all like inner workings between Dumbledore and Snape that was all planned, and I was like freaking out because I was like, what? And they explained the whole thing, and it was like it made sense again, like considering it was all just a plan. Because he was like, "You need to kill me," like the boy, meaning Draco. He was like, "The boy cannot kill me. You need to kill me, Severus," and everything.
And he's been protecting Harry this whole time.
Also, it's revealed that he says something along the lines of like the reason why Voldemort couldn't harm Harry, at least then, is because part of Voldemort is inside Harry.
Oh,
and
so much is in this scene.
It's so much, and I'm watching it right now just to be sure I'm not leaving out anything important, because this is an amazing scene.
There's still
he was like, when the time must come, like the boy must die or something like that, and then Dumbledore's like, yes. This whole scene is just so like, oh my gosh. So he's like, yes, the boy must die, talking about Harry, obviously.
Oh, it shows Snape going into the wreckage of
he like stumbles stumbles into the room, and then he sees Lily just on the ground, and then he grabs her and he starts like hugging her, and he's like crying, and it's just
so sad.
It's so sad. He's like, don't tell me now that you've grown to care for the boy, and it's just so like, oh
my gosh.
And then he sends a Patronus that was the Patronus that Harry saw in the woods in part one. And I was like, oh my gosh. This one scene alone was such an emotional roller coaster, because he sends the Patronus, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And then it cuts to him like holding dead Lily in his arms and crying, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
Dude.
And then after all this time, always.
Lily? After all this time? Always.
And then Harry like comes out of the memory and like his face, like he's so shocked at what happened. After Snape's memories, Harry realizes, we said it earlier, but Harry realizes that he is a Horcrux, so he needs to be killed to get closer to killing off Voldemort. Harry goes into the Forbidden Forest, which beforehand he sees what I'm guessing is like the spirits, or is it Sirius and like his parents or something?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted
It's
to
like
make sure I
all
got that
the
right.
people who died.
The people who died.
Lupin as well.
Lupin, yeah. And so they're there, and so they're basically telling him like, all right, good job, buddy. Just,
You made it this far.
You made it this far, just go and die right now.
Dying
So,
is underrated.
He says
and
he does the thing with the snitch with his mouth, and I think he says, doesn't he say like he's
I'm
something
ready
about
to
dying? I'm ready
die.
to die. Yeah, and then he opens it, and it shows the resurrection stone. He goes up to Voldemort. Basically, there's like a little exchange that's given about him finally killing Harry Potter.
Harry
There's like,
Potter, the boy who lived,
oh, and Hagrid's there,
come
by the
to
way.
die.
And it's so sad because
Hagrid's
Hagrid's
like,
like,
"No,
no, what are you doing? And then Voldemort is just like, come on, and just kills Harry.
There's like a little build up, and then
Yeah, there's a build up. There's like
ends
a
in
whole
5
exchange.
seconds.
Yeah, and then the screen kind of fades out. The screen like fades
to
to
white.
white, and then Harry kind of wakes up and he's in King's Cross Station, but it's all empty and white, and he sees like the little baby Voldemort on the ground, which high key jump scared me because I was
Oh, yeah, it's a
totally not
gross little
expecting it. I was like,
Voldemort.
like I totally was not. He kind of looks underneath like a bench, I think, and then he just sees it, and I was like, oh my gosh.
He's like got blood all over him. It's
I
like the
was-
spirit representing because he's like damaged because all the Horcruxes.
Then he sees Dumbledore, and so he and Dumbledore have a conversation about just what's happening, really. So he's like, Voldemort has the Elder Wand. He's like, yes. And then he's like, and the snake's still alive. He's like, yeah. And then he's like, I have nothing to kill him with. And then he reiterates his line like, help will always be given to Hogwarts to those who ask for it, or something like that. And then
He's like, I need to change that, and he's like,
reiterates it, and he's like, to those who deserve it.
Which
Which, by the way,
to those who deserve it.
Which, by the way, I feel like you said this before, but I really love this actor's voice. Like he has
Yes, he has a calm,
calm,
voice.
like it's hard to describe. Like it's deep, but it's like it's
ASMR.
It sounds like smooth, if that makes sense. Like the way he says stuff, like help will always be given. That's like butchering it, but still, love this guy's voice.
His voice
So, yeah.
sounds like cotton candy. It's a serious
Dumbledore's
scene.
voice sounds like cotton candy, confirmed.
He's like,
Then,
you can go back if you want.
I'm
Yeah.
looking at this comment right now on YouTube. Of course, it's all happening inside your head, but why should that mean it's not real? And then it says, then Harry wakes up back in the cupboard. Could you
Oh my
imagine
gosh.
if it literally woke up, ended with 11-year-old Harry just
Oh
like,
my
wake
gosh,
up,
it was
cousin.
all a dream.
Wake up, cousin. We're going to the zoo. So then Voldemort wakes up, or not wakes up, but he quote unquote. Well, I guess he did
He
kill
opens his
Harry
eyes.
technically. Yeah. So he opens his eyes and he essentially was like, "I killed Harry Potter."
They ask Draco's mom to check and see if he's
Oh
dead.
yeah, they go check to see if he's alive, and then he
And
goes
she's
over there,
like-
and then she's like,
"Is
"Is he
Draco
alive?" And then he kind of
he's like,
nods, and then he's
"Yeah."
like, "Oh, he's dead." So
She vouches for him because she's
Yeah.
not that evil.
So then he and his army are going back to like the courtyard. I thought it was really sad is that the movie started off with like Hagrid carrying Harry to the Dursleys, and it
Oh
doesn't
my
end, but he's
gosh.
carrying a dead Harry, and it's
But-
just so sad. He's not dead, but like in the eyes of the characters, like he's dead,
Yeah.
and it's just so it's
Poetry,
just
better
yeah,
than
like
Star
poetic
Wars.
almost, yeah, better than Star Wars. And then Voldemort's like, Harry Potter is dead. Ginny's freaking
Boyfriend is
out
dead.
because boyfriend didn't really freak out whenever Fred died, but
Oh my
whatever.
gosh, maybe she did, and it was just off screen.
And we
Because
just didn't see it,
their whole
yeah.
family was like crying.
Oh yeah, for sure, but still a good meme.
Harry Potter is dead.
No! No!
She's got plenty of brothers. No, I'm kidding. She's got another one just like him. I'm gonna stop. That's so
Oh my gosh. Draco's dad, Lucius Malfoy, he's like calling Draco over to him. Draco is very like hesitant too at first, and then he walks over, and then Voldemort hugs him,
Awkwardly.
which I looked up.
Very awkward.
I always say in these movies, like, I looked up, but after I watched each movie, I find like movie trivia behind the scenes stuff really interesting. So like I go on IMDb, they have a whole trivia section about things in the movie, just fun facts and stuff behind the scenes, whatever. And in that scene, that hug was not scripted; it was improvised. And Tom Felton or Draco, his reaction to just stopping completely was genuine. Just him not knowing what to
That's
do.
good.
Whatever he hugged him, yeah, that's good.
Improvised
Also,
stuff is always cool.
yeah, it is. I'm gonna say this before we get into this last big sequence. There was a scene pitched to director David Yates. You know, great director. He brought us these movies. You know, I respect the guy. However,
Oh my
there's
gosh.
a scene. I'm trying to find the freaking
The
screenshot.
Draco one.
No, hold on. Where is the screenshot? I sent you a screenshot. I know I did. Oh, here it is. There was a scene pitched to director David Yates about a possible cameo of the Ford Anglia, I guess it's pronounced, from the Chamber of Secrets. We could have gotten a flying car return in Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part
Dude, that
Two,
would have been the most
and we
triumphant return.
did not.
I would have cheered.
I would have freaked out. He
Imagine
said
if
that
the car just like takes out a whole troll.
takes out Voldemort and kills Voldemort.
This Voldemort was like,
yo, I saw a comment. I saw a comment. Oh, I'm gonna bring this up. I don't know if, I'm gonna bring this up later because it's something about later in the movie. But yeah, it just runs him over. It was apparently David Yates said it was okay. The cameo was supposed to be the car returning to save Ron after being cornered by Death Eaters, but David Yates said it was too childish and that the car would have been destroyed, which I can buy that the car would have been destroyed in that time. But still, it would have been so awesome to have it. I would have
that Harry Potter character.
Return of the flying car. Anyway, back to the actual
scheduled
movie.
program.
Yeah, Voldemort is there, and he's like, "I killed Harry Potter. Put your faith in me," or whatever. Then Neville stands up. I was like ready for anything to happen. I was like, what's he doing? What's he doing? What's he doing?
Kill Voldemort right there.
And so he's like, what's your name? And he's like, Neville Longbottom. Everybody starts laughing. And then he gives a speech. And it's like it's such like an inspiring thing. He's like, people die every day. Friends.
Family.
Neville gives a very inspiring speech about the death of Harry. He didn't die in vain and everything.
He's still with us in here.
He didn't die in vain, but you will, because you're wrong. And he's like, it's not over. And then he pulls out the sword of Godric Gryffindor out of the hat. And it's so awesome. And then Harry falls out of Hagrid's arms and he's alive. And it's so awesome.
While he's saying you're wrong to Voldemort, Voldemort has the biggest smile.
They didn't die in vain. But you will, because you're wrong. Harry's heart did beat for us.
So then Harry starts like, I forget what spell he does, but he starts shooting fire out of his wand, and then Voldemort starts firing back at him.
I don't know what that is, but
and then
it's cool.
It's so awesome. Voldemort's firing back, and Harry's running away.
Blasting the whole freaking school apart.
The whole school's trying to kill Harry. Harry runs off. It's so awesome.
Neville gets blasted into the school by.
Oh yeah, when that
Voldemort.
happened, I was like, no, because I was like, he had given the speech, but I was like, he has the sword now. He has to kill somebody. Little did I know. Anyway, so
don't Harry and Voldemort battle like several times?
Oh yeah, we have a whole scene where like Harry and Voldemort are like facing off with one another. They're sort of like firing like different spells at each other. I think they do the Avada Kedavra and Expelliarmus again.
Yeah, they're on the stairs, I think.
They're on the stairs, and then Harry sees Nagini. This whole time, Nagini's kind of like slithering around, and like Harry's trying to kill her. He's unable to because keeps Voldemort's there, kind of cutting him off every time.
Oh yeah,
so,
they're fighting each other on the stairs.
And then we see a shot of Neville waking up. He's like, he was knocked unconscious, I'm guessing. He gets up, and it's sort of like it shows Neville for a while. He sees the sword, and then it cuts away back to Harry and like okay, at this point
the tooth
like,
gets broken, so
yeah he sees Nagini, and then he looks at the sword, and I was like, yo. And then they cut back to Harry and Voldemort. Very, very awesome scene of them like fighting. So much is happening. They're like going from different parts of the school, the tower, and everything. So awesome to see. Molly Weasley.
I was so excited to cover this part.
I know,
So-
it's so
and-
awesome.
Ginny's like fighting like Bellatrix, and then Bellatrix is like about to get the best of her, and then
Oh my gosh, Molly Weasley.
Molly Weasley there comes in.
Yeah.
Not my daughter, you bitch!
While all this is happening, we're getting like flashes of like Nagini, and I think like Hermione and Ron are there, and like Neville. He doesn't show up, but Ron and Hermione are trying to take care of Nagini. Oh yeah, they're on like the edge of a tower, and then Harry's like, "Come on, Tom, let's finish this the way we started."
Oh, yeah, they're
and then
battling it out,
down,
and then
and they start flying, and like they get a weird looking shot where their faces like become one and everything.
because there's the whole thing of them being connected.
And then they crash into the courtyard. A lot of stuff happens in the courtyard.
They're
They're like on the
crawling
ground.
towards their wands.
They're crawling towards their wands. They do the same Avada Kedavra, Expelliarmus thing, and it's very cool, very epic. Nagini's following Ron and Hermione. It's about to attack them. We keep on getting flashes of Harry and Voldemort fighting. Ron's trying to like cast spells at Nagini. Nagini jumps at them, and then Neville cuts off Nagini's
He's
head.
like, "Rah!" and he just
Gryffindor.
yells, and he like
so
slices.
Oh my-
It's such a cool scene because it's like it echoes.
It echoes, and it's so awesome. Neville did something important. This is what I wanted for like the past 3 to
I'm
4
watching
movies.
this whole scene.
I want to say we've already talked about this before, but not in the video. Like, you did a great job of not revealing that Neville did that, because so many times I was like, I
Dude.
want Neville to do something important, and you were just like, oh yeah. And then like,
This is
oh my
difficult.
gosh, Voldemort's dead. The Battle of Hogwarts is over.
The wand, the elder wand, flies into Harry's hand.
Yeah, it's that awesome shot where it's like in slow motion and it's like spinning, and then Harry catches it. And again, the music that's playing is just awesome. And then Voldemort dies. So yeah, Harry goes back into the Great Hall. It's sort of similar to the scene where he went in the Great Hall and everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people were dead. Except this time, it's a lot like happier because they won. And so like they have this
Yeah,
like
they
short little
finally
scene
won.
where like Harry and Hagrid, they sort of like they hug, and it's like, oh, like Harry and Hagrid. Harry sees Ron and Hermione, and like they're like holding hands, and then he kind of smiles, and it's just like,
It's like,
oh my
yes, it
gosh.
worked
It's like,
out.
yes, finally. And then it finally worked out. Harry, Ron, and Hermione are on the bridge. Harry has the Elder Wand, and then Ron's like, this is like an all-powerful wand and everything. Like, what should we do with it? And then Harry breaks it. He throws it over the bridge, and then it's the three of them kind of standing there. So yeah, then the movie fades to black, and then we get a little 19 years later, and then we're shown King Cross Station. And then
You see
I
a
was like
little
totally taken back by this. I was like,
brunette
what?
child
And we see a little brunette kid walking around.
with a card.
And then I was like, okay, Hogwarts student, okay. And then they're sort of like pushing their carts more. I'm like, okay. So like, okay, at this point I know they're at King Cross Station. And I was like, and at this point it's not revealed, but they walk through the wall thingy. Return to the wall thingy, by the way. And then Harry comes into frame, and I was like, and then he's like, together with his son. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then he walks through, and then you see the Hogwarts Express. They're walking through. He's like guiding his son through like the crowd of students. And then you see Hermione as an adult and Ron, and like they're like preparing their daughter to go on there.
It's
And you
like,
see Ginny, by the
yes.
way, Harry. Yeah, they're married. And it's like, oh my gosh, yes. And then you see
They're all
Harry.
married.
Yeah, Harry
Remember when
and
I
Ginny.
spoiled that Ginny and Harry? were
Yes, in
married?
Chamber of Secrets, we've come a long way from getting
Oh my
that
gosh.
spoiled. He
Blasts
literally,
back into
he
the
literally
wall.
flies back into a wall, which causes the place to cave in.
Cave in between Ron
In
and
between
Harry, so that
Ron
Harry
and Harry
can
so perfectly.
rescue his future. Oh wait, I mean his
What?
rescue
Wait,
his
what?
best friend's sister. That's what I was gonna
What?
say.
Wait, seriously?
Shh.
No.
No, I was joking. Did you?
Did I what?
Never mind.
What?
Did you cry at the scene?
Yes. 1,000,000%. Yes.
I was tearing up.
I was crying by the end of it. Okay, I'm gonna get into that in a second, but I think like Harry's son kind of like backs up a little bit, and then he gets up to him. He's like, what if I'm put in Slytherin? He's like, Albus Severus Dumbledore. Frick, I messed up the line. Albus Severus Potter, and I'm like, oh my gosh. He's like, you were named after like
Two wizards, two
two of
headmasters.
one of them was the bravest wizard I'd ever known who was in
was-
Slytherin. He also says the sorting hat will take your choice into account or something like that.
Yeah, if you don't want to be a Nazi, you don't have to. Basically,
If you don't want to be evil, you don't have to. So then he's like ready, and then he gets up, and then they put him on the Hogwarts Express. You see their kids on the train,
oh yeah,
and then they're playing Leaving Hogwarts, which
Oh
was
my
so
gosh.
it was, you see the flap
it's
for
right.
9 3/4 line,
It
and
came
the
full
train
circle.
it came full circle, and they're playing Leaving Hogwarts by John Williams, and that
It's the
last
same one, right? The
that
same
yes, it's the
exact.
same one, same exact. And that last shot of Harry, Ron, and Hermione there as adults sending their kids off to Hogwarts,
Oh
and
my
that's Harry
gosh.
Potter and the Deathly Hallows
It's
Part
not
2.
over. It can't be over now. Oh my gosh.
That was
Ron looks
such a
so much older. They all
oh
look
my
so much
gosh.
older.
I
Dude.
love
Oh
Leaving
my
Hogwarts, that
gosh.
song. It's just so amazing. Just that shot of all three of them as adults as it fades to black. It's
Can you
so awesome.
understand why I don't want Cursed Child to be a thing now?
Yes.
This has tarnished the legacy of this perfect
You don't need
ending.
more. It's crazy to think, because like I honestly don't remember how many times I've explained this in the other reviews, but like me and Timmy went to the same high school. At one point I said I hadn't seen Harry Potter. He was like, what, you need to watch them? And I was like, maybe. And then like
You always
I'm here
brushed it
now.
off like,
I sort of
"Oh,
brushed it off like,
no."
whatever. And
Dude,
then
that's
now
so crazy to think about.
I know, and
'Cause
then
you were not
literally
interested at all.
I was not interested at all.
He's like,
And
oh,
like
he
even
lives under the stairs.
but yeah, I'd brush it off constantly, and now I'm ending off the series, watching the series at the end of my high school career, just watching
At
all
the
these
end of all
movies,
things.
of all things, just watching it and crying at the end of it. It was just I just didn't. It's crazy to think that I'm at that point compared to like where I was years ago, where I was like, whatever. And then now I'm like, I've seen them all and I loved them all.
Yeah,
So
it's so good.
for all of you watching, I want to thank Timmy for like pretty much getting like, you sort of got me into these movies, because I remember
Well, after all this time,
always
you haven't seen Harry Potter, and now you have always.
So, but I
that
remember
didn't
like
make sense.
even whenever I was considering getting the DVDs, I was on the fence about it, because I was like, I don't know, like, am I gonna enjoy these? They're just the first two movies. And I asked you, I was like, hey, I'm considering getting the first two Harry Potter movies. You were like, really? You were like, no, seriously, like, you need to get them all. And I was like,
And
okay.
I remember I felt bad because like I didn't want to pressure you into getting a series that you hadn't seen without like seeing it. But I was
Yeah.
like, there's no way you're not gonna
that
love
I'm not gonna like it. And so yeah, Timmy, main huge factor into why I love Harry Potter so much, for getting me into these series, trying to convince me since like like 8th grade.
Since
Something
I was
crazy
in
like
ninth grade,
that.
you were in 8th
Since
grade.
I was in 8th grade and I was in 8th grade.
And I was, yeah.
Such a satisfying series. It's amazing how every actor brought their A game for each movie. It's
Yes.
just like satisfying, especially in retrospect, to watch a series of movies where the actors care and they gave us good movies. It wasn't just, let's rush this and get this out as soon
Let's
as
make
possible.
money.
Let's have one of the main characters be related to somebody who is dead and doesn't make sense. And like after watching them, I was gonna say even after watching the first one, but after watching the whole series, it's like we just said this, but I would totally watch all these movies in a row for like 18 hours over the sequel trilogy of Star Wars, like for the sake of it being good. So, as a final verdict of this movie, we can both agree that we loved it. It was amazing.
Loved it.
I loved this movie and this series, but this movie in particular. And I guess we should rate it now, because I forgot my rating.
have my rating.
I've had my rating for like the
Had
second
my
it
rating
ended.
for years.
All right, in 3, 2, 1, A 10.
10.
A 10.
Yes.
10 out of 10.
11.
11. 15.
50.
100 out of 10.
9 3/4. I'm gonna stop.
9 3/4 out
10.
of 10.
For the memes now, 10.
Okay, 10 out of 10 for both of us. Alright guys, thank you guys so much for watching our review
Thank you guys
of Harry
for
Potter and
coming on this journey
with us.
Like for Neville slicing the head off Nagini.
You have reached the end of our Harry Potter series. Had so much fun making these videos.
Yes.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thank you so much to those of you who stuck with us as we slowly described all 8 Harry Potter movies. We had such a fun time making these reviews, and I had a great time watching these movies for the first time. If you like our reviews, be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next video.